Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video just wanted to do a little bit of an announcement for the next Letter from the Producer live for Final Fantasy XIV. It is going to be taking place Friday, November 25th at 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and yes, Marco will be doing a translation. We don't know if we're doing it on my channel, we're doing it on his channel, so as long as you're following both of us, I'll make sure to include his in the description of the video. Then you should know the source at some point in the next week or so. So that's a week from tomorrow. I'm recording this on Thursday, so 8 days from now. Not that long away. Now, this is not going to be about the expansion. That you're going to have to wait for the Japanese Fan Festival, which is on December 24th and 25th. Expect that the 24th should be the day where we hear more details about Stormblood. This is going to be strictly a patch 3.5 preview. It's the part 1 preview, so they usually just list all the content and they don't really show us much or give us much in the way of like actual details. They just let us know what the patch is going to be bringing. Also miscellaneous announcements, new merchandise, things you can pre-order, things on sale. Sometimes they announce collaborations, but I'm not expecting a Final Fantasy 15 collaboration for several months, so we'll just have to wait and see what ends up happening there. And like it will be live streaming, like I said, Marco will be translating it. Now, this is normally the part of the video when I do these announcements where I say, oh, you know, let me know what you guys think they're going to announce, you know, are you excited, whatever. We've kind of figured out kind of how the patches go, so I'm going to list the things that we know are coming in the patch, and then I'll also leave open some room for interpretation. Here we go. I'm going to move it over a little bit so it's a little off center. Very professional what I'm doing right now. So these are my predictions for patch 3.5. I predict that the patch will launch on January 10th, 2017. Now that's a little bit later than most are anticipating because the end of December is technically the 3.5-month mark. It's also the holiday season, and I think with some of the other timings that we're going to see, we'll probably see a January 10th release date. I would love for it to be sooner though. Now, what are we going to see in patch 3.5? Well, we know we're going to have new main scenario quests. I expect they're going to do something similar to what they did in 2.5, where they do part 1 of the main story in 3.5 and part 2 in 3.55 about 5 weeks later. So that is my prediction for the main story, that we will get it in 2 parts in the upcoming patch. As for side story quests, we have Hildebrand, we'll get the finale of that. Scholastic, I imagine, will be wrapping up. The Warring Triad we should be finishing, and the Animal Weapon questline should be finished sometime before 4.0. I don't know if it'll be right in 3.5. My prediction is that it'll take longer than that, maybe 3.55 or 3.58, but it should be sometime in the 3.5x series. Now, what dungeons are we going to get? We have no idea. These are, again, complete predictions with no sort of basis. I think that the original dungeon we'll get is Castrum Oriens, which is a dungeon that is, or it's a Garlean camp in the East Shroud that is basically blocking our way to Alamigo, or it's not entirely blocking our way to Alamigo, but it's there and it's annoying, and it's probably our first step into Alamigan territory. If it's not a dungeon here, I think it'll be the first dungeon that we get in Heavensward. Another possible dungeon is actually the Garlean airship that is docked in Azaz Law. I wouldn't be surprised to see that be a 4-man dungeon as well, but my prediction is going to Castrum Oriens. As for the other dungeon, we usually get a hard mode of an existing dungeon, and the only 4 dungeons I think we'll see, there could be other ones, but I don't think we'll get like Dusk Vigil or anything. Vault, are Fractal, and Neverreap. Those are the 4 that I think it could be, but it's only going to be one of them, so if I have to label one of them as my prediction, I'm going to go with Fractal Continuum. I don't think it actually makes a lot of sense story-wise, but I'm going to go for it. Now, for the raid, we're getting a new 24-man raid, of course. We're getting the Fortress of Shadows. I don't know if that's what it's going to be called, but it's a prediction Ethis made a long time ago about where the finale will take place. The Fortress of Shadows, and it's where Queen Skothek is likely residing. It's going to be the finale of the Shadow of Mach storyline. It's 24-man. I predict it will drop item level 260 gear, and the only thing we know for sure about it is that the first boss will be on an airship. That's about it. Now, for the trials, we're going to be getting some interesting things here. For one, I'm actually going to cover the third point first here. Main scenario-related trials. Will we see something like the Chrysalis or the Steps of Faith? I think it's possible. I think it's more likely that we end up seeing a lot more solo instances like the a la Warriors of Darkness like we had in 3.4. So my prediction leans towards that. As for the trials, we'll see right in 3.5, Zervan, the Demon, the final member of the Warring Triad, will probably get a hard mode and extreme. Although they don't even call it hard mode anymore, it's normal and extreme. I predict that the extreme will drop an item level 265 weapon on top of a bird. Now, as for another trial, we're going to be getting our first ever 24-man trial, and that is Proto Ultima. This was available to fight at the North American Fan Festival. We've been told that the public version in the 3.5 series will likely be harder than the one we fought at FanFest. I don't think that's going to launch right in 3.5. I think that's going to launch in 3.55 because I don't think it's going to launch until after the European Fan Festival, which, if my January 10th prediction is right, then 5 weeks after that would be the Tuesday after European Fan Fest. So that's where my prediction lies there. And as for what it'll drop, probably Glamour, probably Exoplatings even, that you get from the Azislav Fate, like the one that spawns every 2 days. So that's where my prediction lies there. I know some people are thinking maybe Ozma Savage. I don't think they'll actually do Ozma Savage. If they do, it would be much closer to the expansion launch, you know, sort of as like a something to do while we're waiting. But I don't think that even after the little preview, quote unquote, we got, said if we did it, it would have this in it. I still don't think that's going to be a thing. I would love to be surprised on that front, though. As for other pieces of content, reworked exploratory missions. Some of you may remember the Diadem that failed at the launch at 3.1. Yeah, that's coming back. They've reworked it from the ground up. They've said they've given it many more goals, many more rewards, and they also have this thing in the reworked exploratory missions called zone-wide raids, which will require people from all over the zone in order to participate, in order to actually take down the boss, and there should be some very dangerous mechanics involved there. So it's supposed to be the Diadem, but better. If I recall correctly, it's a new zone. It's not actually the Diadem with the new mechanics, but maybe the Diadem will also have the new mechanics for anyone wishing to kind of hop in and get an idea of what's going on. I don't know. I think it'll just be for a new zone. Another big feature we're getting is the cross-server party finder. It basically functions the same as your party finder now, but it functions across all of the servers on your data center. Now, it requires you to be doing instanced content, such as like a primal or a raid or something along those lines, but it does allow you to draw from a much bigger pool of people looking to perform the same task. Now, on top of that, we were told that in 3.5, they would have an application for our phones prepared that would actually allow us to communicate with our link shells and free company mates when we're not on the game. We could just log into the app when we're at work or something, and then that would be how we actually communicate with them outside of the game. I think that's going to be great if it's actually done in time for 3.5. For PvP, they got to do something, right? Something, anything. They did dueling, they did spectator mode. Maybe we'll get a new PvP map. Maybe they'll give us a new map for the feast. We don't know. I think they'll do something. I just don't know what. And then adjustments to the Anima questline. I expect in 3.5 we'll see nerfs to both the Ether Oil and the Umbrite step. But I don't think the new step is going to be in 3.5. It could be. I think the next step will be in 3.55. Again, mid-February. And then other stuff that they'll do, various other quality of life stuff, Squadrons, Palace of the Dead Aquapolis, Eggy Glamour. They said that would be ready for 3.5, right? Just like they said it would be ready for 3.4. Just like they said we'd get it before the expansion. Just like, you know what? That's a story for another time. That's what's on the list. I'm sure there are other things I'm missing here, but these are my predictions for what we're going to see in patch 3.5. Hopefully we can find out how many of these are true when November 25th comes around. Anyway, guys, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Thank you for listening to my predictions. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more information about patch 3.5, about Stormblood, about everything. Anyway, thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.